like it would, I don't know, I love the sound of lavalier mics, so I've got one of those today, and I'm super excited to try it out. This is my first time trying it out, so let me know what you think. So this is the fourth bookshelf on my bookshelf, fourth shelf on my bookshelf. And I think I've said this before, but my bookshelf is organized by author's last name alphabetically. So yeah, this is the second to last one. And I've only done one other of these, but I can do another if you guys really like these. Happy to do so. So I'm just gonna go from left to right and just kind of briefly discuss each book here. So you might hear my dogs. They are in the living room with me right now, so I apologize if you hear them like tip-tapping around and, you know, being dogs. So first up, we have Sarah J. Maas, A Court of Wings and Ruin. Now, in my last video, I discussed this series because it was the beginning of the series is on the other shelf. Unfortunately, I just ran out of space, so it had to continue onto this fourth shelf. So, wonderful series. These are the last 3 books of the 5-book series. I'm sure this is a very popular book, so everybody is probably familiar with this series, but it's about fairies and supernatural creatures and romance and war, and it's great. It's wonderful. Sarah J. Maas is an excellent young adult writer, and yeah, so that's the series. So we have A Court of Wings and Ruin, A Court of Frost and Starlight, and A Court of Silver Flames. Alright, next up is Kingdom of the Wicked by Gary Maniscalco. This is a really cool fantasy novel about, it's set in Italy, and I come from a family with a lot of Italian people, and I really connected with this one because I love all things Italian, so the culture and everything. So this is really cool. It's about like this Italian girl it's actually Italian sisters who are witches, and they end up having to deal with some demons, and there's mystery involved, and there's actually a second book coming out. There's a second book coming out. So yeah, Kingdom of the Wicked. I forget what the second one's called, but it's not out yet, but I'll definitely be purchasing that one as well. So super fun and really cool to have Italians represented. This one, I just read this one. Oh my gosh, so good. I want to talk about this one in a book review video soon, so I'll probably not delve too much into this, just because I recently read it, so I want to end my recent reads video. But this is by John Mars. It's called The One, and this is like it's like an extended Black Mirror episode. I swear, it's so good. It's told from the perspectives of multiple different people, and it's so cool. It's essentially, so brief synopsis here. It's in a future not too far off where your DNA can tell you who your soulmate is, who your one match is, and it's just absolutely fascinating, and I loved it, and it was like a non-stop thrill ride, and highly recommend it. Loved it. Next up, I love this book. Migrations by Charlotte McConaughey. This is a wonderful book. I've definitely talked about this one before. And I also just ordered her book that just came out a few days ago. I think it's called There Will Be Wolves or something like that, but I bought it and I got it and it's on my bookshelf to read, so I'll read that soon. But anyways, this is a story about a woman who's very lost, and she goes on this like fisherman's ship, and essentially is trying to track the migration pattern of these birds that she just has like a fascination with. And it's a really good story about kind of finding your way when you're lost and after tragic events and kind of how to carry on. But it's so good. I love this book, and I think it sets a really cool setting because it's in I think it's in Greenland or set in Greenland, but mostly on the ocean, of course, and a fishing vessel. I don't know what this one is. Oh, this is just a little poetry book. The Anatomy of Being by Shinji Moon. I don't really remember too much about it, but I obviously liked it because I did keep it on my shelf, so. Next up is The Silent Patient. I can't remember if I've talked about this one before, but I love this book. Very fast-paced, by Alex Michaelides. I don't know how to say his name. But this is about a therapist and a patient who is accused and I think convicted of killing her husband, and she's been mute ever since. And so she's in this psychiatric facility, and this man becomes her therapist, and he's convinced that he's going to get her to talk. It's very interesting, and like I said, super fast-paced. I think I read it in like 2 nights, maybe. I typically spend like an hour or 2 reading every night, so super fast-paced. But yeah, I loved this one. This was definitely like a creepy thriller, mystery. Yeah, very good. The Song of Achilles, another popular book by Madeline Miller. This is about, gosh, what's his name? It's gonna drive me crazy. Achilles. Oh my god, it's on the cover. Ignore me. Achilles, but it's primarily about his like friend, which is like from the stories. He has this friend. Because it's gonna drive me crazy. Patroclus. Yeah, I don't know. Patroclus. Can't quite remember. But that's like one of his, or his closest friend. But in this, it's actually a love story between them two. And it's during ancient Greek times. And I'm sure everyone's heard of, Achilles heel, everything like that. And how he's this amazing demigod warrior. But this is basically a story that kind of advances on just their relationship and everything that went on during that time. And of course there's tons of elements of Greek mythology in here, and it's just wonderful. So highly recommend. This was a wonderful read, and I love anything like Greek mythology, Egyptians. Also, side note, if any of you have any recommendations for books that are like fictional, but are based in like the Egyptian era, you know what I'm talking about. I'm fascinated with ancient Egypt, and I feel like there's no like movies besides The Mummy. There's no movies, there's no books that are like really good or focused on ancient Egypt. I don't know. So if you have suggestions, please let me know. Next up is Louisa Morgan. I love her. She's a great author. She has multiple books. These are not a series, but they look like a series. The Age of Witches, The Witch's Kind, A Secret History of Witches. I don't really remember individually what these are about, but I really like her writing style. And typically they kind of time travel a little bit and talk about like families of witches and how that they were treated and how they kind of approach the time that they live in, because obviously we all know that historically witches were not treated well, even if they were not actually witches. But it's fiction, and it's, if you like anything like witchy, she's a great writer. She's really descriptive, and it's like cozy, but also super interesting because there's a lot of like traveling between different time eras. So very good. My leg is falling asleep, so I apologize. I'm like sitting on like a little yoga mat thing. Next is Erin Morgenstern, one of my favorite authors and favorite book of all time. The Night Circus is one of my favorite books of all time. It's so good. It's about a circus that randomly happens, and I think it's based either in the late 1800s or early 1900s, but it's fiction, and it's just beautiful. It's filled with magic and a little bit of romance, but it's not like focused on that, I wouldn't say. I think it's more focused on like the fantastical elements, and it's just so cool. I cannot explain and express my love for this book. It is one of my all-time favorite books, so highly recommend. Let me know if this is one of your favorite books too, because I don't find a lot of people that have that it is one of their favorite books, but it's magical. So The Starless Sea is also by Erin Morgenstern. This is her recent book that she released, I think, in 2020. Also very good. It didn't, for me, it wasn't as good as Night Circus. However, I still loved it because I love her and I love her writing. She's just unbelievably descriptive and creative and just unreal. She creates these unreal worlds that are like you can't compare them to any other types of I don't know, like magical worlds. Like sometimes when you read stories, especially if you read a lot of fantasy fiction like me, things kind of blend together, you know, because there's a lot of elements, common elements that are used in fantasy fiction novels. So she's just unbelievably creative, and I wish I could take a peek inside of her brain because brilliant. But yeah, this is a book about, I think it's a guy. It's a while. I read it when it first came out because I, of course, had it pre-ordered. A guy, that was my eye. I rubbed my eye socket. About a guy who kind of finds out about a different world, and it's hard to describe, honestly. Gosh, I don't know how to describe it. It's so interesting. I don't know. You'll just have to read it. That's all I'm gonna say. This one, one of my favorites. Like I said, this book is so comforting and sweet. It is nonfiction. It is. I never know how to pronounce her name, so I'm not going to try. But World of Wonders, and I think her first name is Amy. Amy. Well, you can read it if you need to. It's a list of essays, and it's about. It ties everything in with some kind of like natural occurrence, whether it's like different animals or things that happen in nature. It's always tied to that, but it's a series of personal essays about her life, and it's just really heartwarming and honestly really cool if you're like me and a nerd for like anything nature. It's cool to see that how she ties together, you know, real things that have happened to her, and then as well as which biological facts and stuff like that. So it's really cool, and it's a very fast read. I think I read it in just like an hour or two. But very good if you're not feeling, I don't know, inspired, or if you're in a weird place. I highly recommend this book. So, and the artwork's pretty cool. A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. This is really cool. This is a brand new book, at least this last year, and it's actually, there's a second book coming out soon, and I don't know how many are going to be in this series, but it's very cool. It's about like this, it's like Harry Potter, but like way more deadly, which is surprising because Harry Potter's pretty deadly, obviously. But this is basically a school where magic kids go to, and they specialize in powers, and they have to, like, they're basically always on death's door because they, like, there's always something trying to kill them. It's like, you know, a deadly school. So it's really cool. It's a fun one. I think it qualifies as young adult, but don't let that deter you. Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. I love this book. It's one of those books that sticks with you. This is about a girl who grows up in the marshlands of, is it South Carolina or North Carolina? I can't remember, but it's one of the Carolinas, I believe. And there's some, like, mystery elements to it, but a lot of it has to do with the fact that this girl essentially was, like, not a part of society and kind of, like, lived off of the land and knew everything about it, and that wasn't necessarily easy for her. She had a very rough life, but she was also brilliant when it came to understanding the nature around her home and everything. And it's just like, I don't know, it's a great book. I really enjoyed that book, and I like reading books about locations I'm not familiar with, because I have been to the Carolinas before, but I don't think I've ever been to, like, a marshland or something. So I don't know, it's pretty cool. And you guys know I love to learn about plants and animals and stuff like that, so cool stuff, but also heartbreaking and heartwarming at the same time. So Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Barris. This is a thriller, very disturbing. I'm surprised I kept it on my shelf. It's not one of my favorite books I've ever read, especially as far as like mystery or thriller goes, but I don't know, I don't want to spoil anything in case you want to read it. It is good. It's definitely unforgettable, but it's essentially about a wife and her husband, and they kind of marry very quickly, and things kind of turn bad, and it's very unsettling. I will say that, trigger warning, this is an unsettling book, and there is something, albeit brief, mention in the story that happens to a dog, and that doesn't really make me very happy, so that's why I wasn't too thrilled about, or probably why I didn't love this book, was because of that. However, it is very good, and it's also super fast read. If you like thrillers, you'll like this one. It's creepy. I'll say that, it's very creepy. So yeah. And of course, my all-time favorite series of all time, it's the Louise Penny series. Well, I guess it's technically called the Inspector Gamache series, but whatever. Louise Penny is the author. This is called unofficially the Inspector Gamache series, and it starts with Still Life, A Fatal Grace, Cruelest Month, A Rule Against Murder, The Brutal Telling, Bury Your Dead, A Trick of the Light, The Beautiful Mystery, How the Light Gets In, The Long Way Home, and The Nature of the Beast. Now there are 5 more books, but they're on my next shelf. I ran out of room over here, so you will see those in another video. But anyways, I have the entire series, and the newest one is coming out in August, and I'm so excited. I know I've talked about this a billion times, but just as a brief kind of overview, the Inspector Gamache series by Louise Penny is a Canadian cozy murder mystery series, and her writing is, in my opinion, unparalleled, because especially in the mystery category, because it's somehow cozy and like, I don't know, not creepy, but also has moments where it's thrilling, and she just does an amazing job of really delving into character development, the good and bad sides of humanity, of the human psyche, human psychology, and I think human psychology is fascinating. So it's just I just love her, and I love this, and it takes place a lot in a fictional little town in Canada called Three Pines, and I wish it was real. If you live in Canada and you know of like a cute tiny town that's like hidden, I'd really like to go there. I'm obsessed. I'd like to get the map of like Three Pines and like frame it and put it on my wall because I'm that big of a freaking nerd. So anyway, that is the last of the bookshelf. Obviously I can't go through each individual book. I couldn't even freaking remember which one is which, honestly. Like I could, if I read the back of them, I'd be like, oh yeah, for sure. I just know that I love them, and I'm actually planning on probably rereading them soon. So I didn't have Still Life for a little bit because I had lent it out, and I finally just got it back. So I think I might start reading it again because I don't know, I'm obsessed with it, and it's comforting to me. So yeah. Anyway, that's all I have for you. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I know I was like a little silly today. I mean, when am I not, right? But anyway, let me know if you liked my new mic too. I have the, like, of course, the Apple earphones mic. I don't know. I wanted to get a lavalier mic because I just think that they have a very specific sound, and I think they're easier to control because I can clip them on things. So yeah. I think there's something so tingly about lo-fi videos too. I've really grown to love them. I hope that you are doing amazing as always. Please let me know if you want to see my other shelves. Also, fun fact, I got another bookshelf in my bedroom because I've run out of space on this one. So I've started putting books on that one too. So I believe that means I now have 9 bookshelves. So I can make plenty more of these videos if you do indeed like them. So